Joining me now for more on this, my Sky News colleague, Andrew Bolt. Thanks for your time. Fair bit to unpack there. I think what strikes me, though, is how small the inheritance he got. You know, he inherited a business, but basically an afternoon Adelaide daily newspaper. So it's quite the empire from those beginnings.
No, it's just incredible, isn't it? He was 21 years old, and the paper he had, the news in Adelaide, had just 75,000 readers. It was known as the Licornu News, I believe, because of its advertiser. But 75,000. Now look, I mean, it's millions, his audience. It's just incredible. But you know what really, you know, we're hearing about all his business acumen and his toughness and all that. That's fine. But, you know, Tom, what really interests me is that what made him really such a genius. It's not just his love of ideas and his energy and endless curiosity, but he actually picked the segments of the market that people weren't catering to in the media business, and that is conservative parts of the market. You know, a lot of people are disenfranchised. If you ever look at his two biggest business decisions, in my view, in the media area, one was to buy the Sun newspaper in London in 1968 and really, you know, make it a weapon against the elites, as it were. And then Fox News in America, which is just a titanic sort of operation, did exactly the same there. And that's what made him a lot of money, got him a lot of enemies in the left, but I think actually establishes the fact that he has always been anti-establishment, anti-elites, and for the little guy.
Yeah, the 21 bit is what blows me away, because I was flat out getting up before 10 a.m. when I was 21. I'm not sure I would have been quite cut out for inheriting that sort of gig. So on that sort of, when you say they're identifying a gap, if you chart right back through his career, it wasn't necessarily sort of conservative leanings initially. What do you make of his politics, I guess? I mean, he famously backed Tony Blair and John Howard at the same time. What do you make of his politics? Did that shine through? It was more about, as you say, anti-establishment. And I know he's been quoted before saying the Australian newspaper, for example, is never a party newspaper, and it's not been afraid to have a crack at coalition governments over the years.
Oh, no, absolutely right. I mean, you know, famously when he went to Oxford University in the 50s, he is said to have had a bust of Lenin on his shelf. I don't know that, you know, I don't think he's ever been of the left. He flirted with global warming for a little while and then changed his mind, thought it was exaggerated. I think he's been also an enemy of complacency and slackness. I mean, it's wrong to just characterise him or anyone really, as unless they're a moron, as some kind of single, you know, you can put one label on them, that's it, that's all of them. He backed Tony Blair, as you say, because I think he thought, for a start, that the Conservatives then were complacent and Tony Blair offered energy that the country needed. Mind you, Rupert Murdoch also doesn't like backing losers. So if you're going to win an election, he'd rather find a reason to be on your side than not. But he also backed Kevin Rudd, you might recall, in the first election. Or a lot of newspapers, papers in his empire here backed Kevin Rudd. I thought it was a mistake at the time and turned out to be right. But there you go, you know, he will give people a go. But what he can't stand is complacency and laziness, and particularly the elites. I mean, it's so striking that the message that he put on the first day that he bought, you know, ran the first editorial he put in the Sun newspaper in 1968 in London is almost, well, word for word, but certainly in sentiment, the same as he put in his message yesterday or overnight saying he was stepping down as a emeritus chairman. I mean, so in 1968 he said famously, we are not going to bow to the establishment in any of its privileged enclaves ever. And then yesterday he said, self-serving bureaucracies are seeking to silence those who question their provenance and purpose. Elites have open contempt for those who are not members of their rarefied class. Most of the media is in cahoots with those elites, peddling political narratives rather than pursuing the truth. Over 55 years, his driving ethos has been the same.
Yeah, so it shines through there from 68 to 2023. Look, he was someone that was always famously described as very hands-on. I know his statement even talks about being in newsrooms on a Friday night, so good luck to the editors out there. But he only had so much time, Andrew. So I haven't met him, but, you know, you being the star you are, I'm assuming you have. I asked this question without knowing the answer. How did you find him personally if you did meet Rupert Murdoch?
Well, I've always enjoyed his company because he's a gossip, like any good newspaper person. He's a gossip. He tells it like it is. He loves ideas out of left field, which is interesting. You know, you're someone of his age too now, but it's always been the case. You know, as people get older, they tend to cling to what they've done before. He's quite prepared to just dynamite what is done before if it's not working and start again, or embrace the new. You might remember MySpace was one of the few dud decisions he made. He was quite happy to junk it after it turned out to be a dud. He's endlessly curious, and I think that's really, really important. But, you know, obviously when you're an entrepreneur in ideas as well, sometimes you get things wrong, but when you get things right, you get them really right. But in the end, it's, like I say, he's always been, despite his fabulous wealth now, anti-elites. And that is one reason why elites have tended to hate him.
I'm sure we'll get more reaction on your program, Andrew Bolt. Thanks for your time.